Hey everyone, the layoffs continue. Today we're looking at the newest job reports. 120,000 small business jobs lost in November, 1.2 million layoffs nationwide, and the worst year for workers since 2020. Tariffs, inflation, and weak spending are hitting the economy hard, and even Trump's approval is sliding further.
Well, some troubling news for the U.S. labor market. Private employers slashed 32,000 jobs in the month of November. That's according to the payroll processing company ADP. Small businesses cut the most jobs, about 120,000. Larger businesses, those with 50 or more employees, actually added roughly 90,000 workers last month. These are the last jobs numbers the Federal Reserve will see before their December meeting.
Article that talks about this same story from NBC News on December 6th. U.S. companies with fewer than 50 employees got rid of 120,000 jobs in November. This, of course, following an epically bad October. ADP chief economist Nayla Richardson said that inflation, consumer spending, and tariffs have all been factors negatively impacting small businesses. Article goes on to say that some small businesses didn't lay people off, but instead they paused hiring, or they didn't replace people that had left previously. These sorts of nuances make a huge difference in looking at how the economy is performing. Maybe businesses don't lay people off, but they just never hire anyone that they normally would have, especially during a higher consumer spending month like December. Another interesting thing in the article is that the president of a custom bike manufacturer in Oregon said that sales to American customers were down, but that sales to Asian customers remained strong. Beyond small businesses,
companies across the country cut back on jobs last month. According to the outplacement firm Challenger, Gray & Christmas, U.S. employers announced just over 71,000 layoffs in November. And that's roughly half the amount from October, when a surge in layoff notices came from several of the nation's bigger companies. Analysts say nearly 1.2 million jobs were cut so far this year. And that's the highest amount recorded in a January through November stretch since 2020.
1.2 million jobs lost, worst year for layoffs since 2020. This article from USA Today, December 4th, job cuts were lower in November than they were in October. Again, October was very bad. Worst October for layoffs since 2009. But the layoffs this November were still more than last year. Article references tariffs and shows that layoffs were up 24% from November 2024. Layoffs because of DOJ's cost-cutting measures were apparently not the reason for October and November layoffs, and even still are the leading reason for layoffs in 2025. So 2025 has been absolutely horrific for workers, and we're apparently looking at a weakening economy, not exactly a weak or worst case economy. Now, if you're looking at why all this has happened, DOJ and tariffs have been brought up plenty of times. There might be a reason for terrible Trump approval ratings. From USA Today, December 5th, Trump's approval on job performance from November is 36%. This is before they announced these most recent November job reports. So can we expect to see a record low approval rating in early January once we have surveys taken from this month? From HR Dive, December 8th, a new Society for Human Resource Management, or SHRM survey, shows 75% of CEOs expect more layoffs in 2026, citing inflation, tariffs, and economic uncertainty. AI adoption is their top priority next year, even ahead of revenue growth, and many employers are already cutting jobs because of it. October saw the highest monthly layoffs since 2009, and nearly 1 in 3 companies say that they've already replaced roles with AI. CEOs also expect rising labor costs, more restructuring, but they say they still struggle to find skilled talent. Sort of mind-boggling to hear that AI development is even more important than revenue growth. It would be nice, though, if we had proper regulations and a plan for how people might fit into the future of work. I think it's also been mentioned that there are a lot of skill shortages, worker shortages. I think oftentimes it comes down to a wage issue from what I've seen. If 2026 looks anything like 2025, then we are in for some trouble. I'm sure we will all be waiting with excitement.